The areas you need to craft your unique concept. Today's conversation is sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you want to learn more about how to make your 9 to 5 optional, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising. The areas you need to craft your unique concept, believe it or not, is going to answer a question that most people ask me whenever I'm having strategy calls or we finally get on the phone with one another. But here's the thing. I also want you to understand that what I'm going to share with you now, what it took me a long time, like after reflecting on 10 years of what it took to make my 9 to 9 optional. I realize now that starting in this place is not the place to start if you want the highest probability of truly being able to make your 9 to 9 optional. By the time I'm done with this very brief episode, you're going to clearly understand why I say that. And it's going to start to make sense. Like the pieces are falling together, or this is yet another piece to help you to be able to either yourself or help someone else be able to make their 9 to 9 optional. They like the role. They want to keep going into it. And at the same time, if they could do something else, they love doing that. So let me get back to that because you want to understand the 3 areas, right? Or the areas that you're going to need to craft your unique concept. Going a little bit more of the philosophy about it as well. But just from the very beginning, and this is one of the things, like I said, when I realized that this is the place that most people want to start, but if you start here, the chances of you actually succeeding and being able to make your 9 to 9 optional without having a lot of heartache and frustration and just possibly burnout, like you shouldn't start here. This is not the place that I would suggest you start, nor is it the place that we start whenever I'm showing someone the pathway. But I knew that I wanted to start somewhere, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do to make my 9 to 9 optional. Actually, I didn't even realize that I wanted to make it optional until I had this amazing conversation, which I'm sure that I'm going to talk about sometime in a future episode. But the thing is because I went through this same process and I realized like I wanted to understand where to start. I wanted to make my role optional once I realized that that was even a possibility because I had been so heads down in my role, just trying to rise through the ladder because my goal was I just wanted to make more money because I was a sales leader and I was really good at my job and I wanted to make a whole heck of a lot of money because, as I've said before, I thought that money solved all problems. The thing is money can solve a lot of problems, but it also creates a lot more. But since that was my mindset, that's what I wanted to do. And that's why I was looking to initially make my 9 to 9 optional. But ultimately, like if you would have gotten me into a corner and been like, Billy, why are you even doing this? Like, you're really successful in your corporate job. You're knocking down massive ducats, as they would say back in the day. Like that means translations. You're making a lot of money, not necessarily keeping a lot of money. That's a whole different lesson that I learned much later. But why would you even go through that? What I realized is even though I was earning a lot of money, I still had to ask my boss if I could, what I was thinking, like, can I go to the bathroom? Like, and it was basically saying, can I go on vacation? Can I go see my family? Or can I do this? Or can I do that? And I kind of did that, a lot of that when I was really, really young. And I didn't feel like I had to, at that point in my life, continue to ask my boss if I could be on vacation to invest quality time with my family, loved ones, and stuff like that. So quietly, I would just say, look, freedom, I think I'm already free, but I just want to have more control over my time. That was the deep, dark secret that I really wasn't telling anybody at the time. But what I realized is that as I started going through, like one of the reasons that I continue to be stuck in this continuous loop of running around and around and around, whether you want to call it a rat race or whether you want to call it like you don't know what else to do, is because I was like all in on my corporate role. I was all in on the title. I was all in on having the nice German luxury car and being able to have the gas paid for and all of these things, which were great at the time, but it just kept me distracted. Right. And eventually I kind of was kept going, but I was like, look, there's something else that I want to do. Like I can't just keep running into this wall over and over and over. Every 4 quarters, the clock reset to 0 and I had to start all over. I had to reprove myself. Now, I was pretty good at that. And if you ask my previous bosses or colleagues, they would tell you, yeah, Billy really was crushing it. He did a really good job, but I was feeling trapped. I was feeling like this was the only thing that could go. And so eventually, once I realized, I had to go through a process. And this is the thing. I'm going to share with you something that I don't really share a lot. But the thing is when I started running my head into the wall, figuratively speaking, I started realizing there was no way out for me. But then I saw other people that were starting businesses, and these businesses were like, they were kind of keeping it a secret, or people would get to a point that where they were leaving the company that I was working for because their brick and mortar business or their online business or their real estate empire had started taking off enough that they were generating. And this is the thing that you've got to understand, because this goes back to the areas you need to craft your unique concept, because it's really important. Because the thing is it wasn't that they just had the idea. The idea was generating enough sustainable income that they were able to say, you know what, it's time for me to do something else, because I feel something else that's going on in my mind. And because I had these POCs, proof of concepts, I keep coming back to this over and over. I saw that other people were actually able to do this. It became real for me at a subconscious level, I'm sure in the very beginning, but eventually, once I started having some proof of concept as well, I had some mistakes, some failures along the way, and a lot more successes than failures. I started realizing, okay, other people are doing it. I'm starting to get some potential ideas of what I can do to make this even more robust. Let me go out here and put a plan together and figure out how I can make this happen. So, of course, and I've talked about this a lot in the past, like I found initially my thing because I just wanted to just invest a little bit more and invest in things that were not paper assets. I read a lot of the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was all in on tangible assets. I thought it was real estate. What I later learned is that it was really a thing. It was a play on debt and understanding what debt is and how that plays in with currency and money and all this other kind of stuff. This is not the podcast for that. But anyway, early on, I started investing in tangible assets. I started realizing that there were a lot of the skill set that I was building, the education. I started surrounding myself with other people. I went out, I got a paid mentor. I surrounded myself with other accountability partners, masterminds, and really started investing so that I could leverage this new education that I had. And most importantly, because I spent a long time in sales and sales leadership, I started realizing that there were so many of these skills that I'd already built up that were actually transferable skills. So I could leverage even the corporate skills that I had, whether it was managing projects, leading large teams, negotiating complex deals, being able to actually attract new clients. A whole nother thing that we'll get into. And that's part of what we're going to talk about too, because I want you to really understand the areas that you need to craft your unique concept. And there's three of them. I think that there are three that have helped me really not only craft the unique concept, and I'll talk to you what I mean by that. And these are the things that you start realizing that I could now use this same knowledge and insight to build a business, not just play around with some investments, not just leveraging the corporate skills, but combining these different skills, corporate and otherwise, to be able to start to build a business. Now, initially I did this and it's a typical trap. Like A players, this is what happens, right? Because you want to do everything. Nobody does things as well as you do. So you want to make sure that you do it well. And, and I did this. I was burning the candle at both ends. And I knew that what eventually started catching me was the fact that I knew that I had an idea. I wanted to get it done, but I just was trying to do everything myself because I thought no one can do it as well as I can. So why go out and ask somebody else to do it? Plus, I come from a working class family, and there's this embedded scarcity mindset that I struggled with. And there's times that I still struggle with it, right? Because it was part of what's there, but I'm aware of it now. So this is one of the things you also push through, you continue to move through. And I realized it wasn't just about me being able to do everything myself, because once I crafted my unique concept, there were three key areas that I was able to realize that you needed to do. Like anyone who wants to craft a unique concept, it's super important. You've got to do three things. And here's the three things that I'm going to tell you need to do. If you want to craft your unique concept, beyond understanding what that concept is for you, and when I say that, I mean, like maybe you decide that you want to leverage your money. So you want to continue to invest because you feel like that's the best thing to do. Well, maybe then what your unique concept is in investing more. So you need to be able to attract opportunities to invest in. Maybe you want to build a business. So if you are building a business, then if you do not have customers or clients, you will not have a business very soon because you have to be there to be able to solve problems. So these are just two different scenarios, right? You're investing for your unique concept, or you are going out and you're building a business. You're attracting clients. So first of all, you have to identify what it is that you want to be able to do. That's the first of the key areas. Identification of what it is that you want to do or identify as your unique concept. It's got to be crystal clear. Are you going to invest? Are you going to build that business? Is it online? Is it offline? Whatever the thing is that lights the passion in you, identify it, get crystal clear on it. Because once you identify it, then this is moving into the second step. Are you ready? So when you want to craft your unique concept, the other thing that you need to do once you've identified it is you now have to be able to attract more of whatever it is that your unique concept is. So let me give you an example. So if you're saying that you want to be able to build a business that is an online business, or let's say, it's an online business. So in that online business, you need to be able to not only identify it, now you began to put the nuts and bolts around it. What are you doing to attract clients? Because if you have built a business, but you don't have any clients to attract, or you don't have a system for attracting clients consistently, then you're going to more than likely not be in business. You'll be out of business real fast. Because if you spend a lot of time and effort and energy identifying, and then you don't have any mechanisms or systems in place to attract those clients, then you're going to be in a really, really tough spot, right? And I don't want that for you. But I also want to give you the framework. And this is the framework. That's the second step. You want to know the third step? I know you do, because you're probably already out with your iPad writing things down, or your pencil, or you're taking notes on your phone. Here's the last thing that you have to do. You've identified, now you've attracted your client, and you have a system in place that's doing that consistently, that's not costing you a lot of extra time, energy, and effort and heartache. And so now once you have your clients in this specific example, or maybe it's deals or whatever the case may be, your system is in place to attract more of those deals, more of those clients, more of the opportunities. And lastly, you must serve consistently. You must serve your concept consistently. So if that means that you are bringing in more investment opportunities, how are you actually managing the investments once they're in your portfolio? You understand which are providing the highest type of return, however you measure that. One of my favorite measurements is ROS, return on sleep, which nobody talks about, but that's a whole different thing. We're not even going to go down that path because most people are thinking ROI, RIR, NPV, and whatever these kinds of things are, right? And so understanding how to serve, or even when you have your clients, how are you serving your clients? How are you consistently following up with them, engaging with them, so that you are optimizing their experience with you, so that they continue to stay with you and or attract other clients that you want to serve that have a similar issue. And I even talked about this in a previous episode. We talked about the serving your ideal client, and that's episode 486. If you want to go and kind of dive in a little bit more specifically there, you can. But those, in a nutshell, are the three different areas you need to craft your unique concept. You need to be able to identify, you need to be able to attract, and you need to be able to serve. Because the thing is once you get through that and you realize that it's more than likely not just going to be you to be able to do it on your own. You're going to need some help. You're going to need some assistance, because there's only 24 hours in a day. And when your concept is large enough, you have to figure out how to make sure that you are appeasing the passion that is going on inside of you, right? I went through that. I've been there, and I can tell you, when it was all said and done, right at the end of my corporate career, I went through this exact same process. And I understood that once I was able to achieve my concept, and the concept for me initially started out, as I said, it was real estate. It was investing in real estate. It was building a portfolio, having my own portfolio, and then investing with other people, and then bringing on my own private equity firm and being able to, raise tens of millions of dollars. But the thing is it was the concept that helped to generate revenue. And that revenue is the thing that helped me to be able to have the option to leave corporate. Right? There are other steps that come before this, though. This is the important thing. This is the critical piece that I mentioned at the very beginning. A lot of times you want to say, where do I start? I want to start here. Well, this is where you think you need to start. But I can promise you that over the long haul, this is one of the key areas, like crafting your unique concept, without a doubt. But before that, there's two other critical elements that I believe that you absolutely need to have, right? Before that, you need to be able to make sure that you're in control of what's happening in your company, because that is the foundation. That is typically the benefit. And that is the area that is providing you the opportunity to even look at having this, because you're performing your day job. But even before that, there's a step that you need to do. And that is, you need to be quantifiably clear on what path you want to go down, why you want to go down that path, and whose lives you want to affect. So there's two steps before you even get to this one. That's what I think. And the thing is what I realized is once I was able to craft the unique concept, and this is why I'm sharing it with you, being able to go out and identify, be able to attract, and then be able to serve. What I started to realize is while I was doing this, because I was doing this in corporate, during corporate, right? I learned skills that I was able to use and recognize to be able to serve others and do it in a repeatable way. At the end of the day, going through this process, that is the thing that you walk away with more than anything else. Recognizing that you now have this skill that you can you can go out and you can serve others and you can serve them consistently because you've been able to identify, attract, and serve your client with your unique concept. That's it. Like, that's the thing. These are the areas you need to craft your unique concept. I wanted to keep this episode brief. I also want you to know that once you unlock this whole concept of crafting your unique concept, if this is the part that helps you to generate revenue, the revenue that you are going to need and want, I guess, to create optionality in your life, right? It is the final step. It's not the first step. This is where most of us want to think that we want to start. In my opinion, in order to do it where the risk is mitigated the most, where you continue to be reliable at home, where you continue to be able to transition from your known as the corporate warrior to now being able to control your time with the people that you love most, when you want to do it, where you want to do it. That's the thing. And it's being able to craft your unique concept and do that consistently. So listen, I know that this episode is one that's going to help you. It's going to help others. Take it just a couple seconds, share the episode, but don't leave it in the theory, please. Get on the phone, talk to the person, get on a session, a video session, and talk to them about the concepts. Go from theory to practice, challenge each other. That's where the growth happens. All right. And so while you're doing that, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be right here and I'm going to be preparing the next episode. So until then, I want you to go out and make it a great day. And I want to say thank you very, very much. Today's conversation was sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you're looking to make your 9-to-5 optional and need some help, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising.